Tucker Bounds is national spokesman for the McCain campaign, and a good morning to you, Tucker.
Good morning to you, Alex.
You know, NBC has obtained a strategy memo about the findings from a focus group that your campaign conducted on last night's debate. One of the conclusions, Tucker, the respondents believe that Obama's interpretation of McCain's health care plan, they believe that one more so than McCain's interpretation. Now, we just heard a back and forth right there on the health care. Do you have to concede that issue to Obama now, or not so much? And if not, why not?
Well, I have to concede that he does have the overall support of the mainstream media that's been happy to propagate a lot of falsehoods about John McCain's health care plan. And they've failed to call Barack Obama to the carpet for some of the falsehoods that he presents about his own plan.
Okay, so
I think every American should... What's that, Alex?
So you clear it up.
I'm happy to clear it up. Every American should know that they're going to get a $5,000 tax credit that will allow them to buy the health care that they deserve, to be able to choose their own destiny and be able to afford the insurance that their children and their families deserve. This is a matter where Barack Obama has presented a falsehood having to do with how much these insurance plans cost, as well as how much this tax credit represents. He's tried to call it a tax, when in fact it is a tax credit. It is a net tax gain for the consumer, gain for the family, gain for the health care policies that Americans deserve. But more importantly than that is just a clear example of where Barack Obama is willing to be dishonest with voters about what he actually represents. His health care plan, as he just looked in the camera and said, provides zero fine, he says. But in fact, the Wall Street Journal this morning mentioned again that he has failed to represent or failed to say truthfully that he does in fact require a mandate on small businesses if they don't sign up for his $12,000 per employee plan. That is essentially where this campaign will be fought, is on the truthful terms. And we think that John McCain's record of reforming government, his ability to deliver, and his actual accomplishments serving the people will far outweigh Barack Obama's rhetoric and pretty words.
Okay. Tucker, I think McCain's best moment, pretty much universally agreed, was when he said he's not George Bush, and if Obama had wanted to run against Bush, he should have done so 4 years ago. Why hasn't the campaign used that before?
Well, we certainly have. You know, Alex, I think I've been on your show, in fact, making the case that John McCain has stood up against this administration on the issues that matter time after time, whether it was the prosecution of the war in Iraq and John McCain's urge that they move to a more successful strategy in the surge, whether it's spending, which every American can sit in their home right now and recognize that Washington has grown out of control. It's been mismanaged. The budgets are bloated. John McCain has been the man that's been on the Senate floor saying we need to vote against these bills. We need to oppose these bloated budgets. Government needs to be reined in. We need to run a more effective government that can better service our economy and not spend our children's inheritance funding things that certainly aren't affecting the American economy in a positive way, Alex.
Okay, so Tucker, 19 days to go. What are we going to see coming up to try and make up the deficit from the McCain camp?
Well, I think that this campaign and this election is closer than some of the polls represent, first of all. Second of all, John McCain has made a closing argument. He's been a fighter for everyday Americans since he was 17 years old. He's been on the floor of the Senate making reforms, delivering for the American people, taking on this administration on prescription drugs, on spending, on taxes, being able to make sure that we can grow this economy, build the small business sector. You know, I know, Alex, that you've seen all this conversation about Joe the plumber and Joe plumbers across the country, but that is the flashpoint. That is a face on what Barack Obama's economic plan really means for Main Street Americans. He doesn't like to talk about the fact that he's going to increase taxes on small businesses and clamp down on this one sector of this American economy that's actually showing signs of vitality. That's what we need to be talking about. That's what we'll talk about all the way to Election Day.
Okay, Tucker Bounds, thanks so much. Good luck, and we'll talk with you again soon.